After Bodyslam.net's Cassidy Haynes broke the story of Daniel Bryan, a.k.a. Brian Danielson, signing with AEW back in July, it was expected that the former WWE World Champion would make his AEW debut at the September 22nd show at Arthur Ashe Stadium in Queens, New York. However, it looks like some of these things have changed, and it looks like now that, according to Bodyslam, a couple of days ago, Brian Danielson's AEW debut was moved over from AEW Dynamite Grand Slam to All Out this weekend in Chicago at the Now Arena. The reasons for this have to do with the growing concerns of the current state of COVID in the state of New York, as the uncertain situation has brought into question what an Arthur Ashe show in late September could look like given potential restrictions that could be put in place. Word is that AEW management do not want to be in a situation where they debut Daniel Bryan or Brian Danielson in front of no fans or even in front of a small audience at Daly's Place. This past Wednesday at AEW Dynamite, CM Punk reacted to a yes chant by the crowd, telling the fans that they probably need to be a little patient with them. So he's kind of teasing, and he's been teasing some future debuts. Some are more likely than others. But that was the first real confirmation from anyone in AEW, or first indication, rather, that Daniel Bryan or Danielson had signed with the company. We know that it's pretty much a lock that Bryan is signing with AEW. There have been multiple credible sources, such as Fightful, such as Bodyslam, such as the Wrestling Observer newsletter, that have basically confirmed this. And the question is it the correct decision by AEW, given the situation, to debut Daniel Bryan at All Out instead of the September 22nd Grand Slam show? And if you ask me, I think so. I think this is a smart decision, because one thing we learned during the pandemic and one thing we learned in 2020 was nothing's guaranteed, and that you should not take these things for granted. You should not take crowds for granted, especially in pro wrestling. We saw what pro wrestling was like with no fans in the stands. We saw what it was like with some little fans in the stands, with just a few people surrounding the ring. It was different. And now we're seeing fans back, and it is way more exciting of a product than it ever was. It's way more hot. And I'm talking about WWE and AEW. Ratings are up. Excitement for wrestling in general is up. The feel of the shows is so different, and so much energy, and even more so than the Thunderdome provided or Daly's Place. It is different. So with the September 22nd show, which was supposed to be AEW's biggest show of the year, potentially, we don't know what it's going to be like, because the Delta strain is fast growing. It is fast transmitting amongst people, and we don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know what restrictions are going to be like. So if you're AEW and you're in a situation where you have this guy, you've had him for a month, and you are just waiting for the right time to debut him, right now, in the midst of this pandemic, there's not going to be a right time. And one thing you don't want to be is you don't want to be caught trying to debut him at the wrong time. So we're a few days out from Chicago, All Out. There's going to be no restrictions put in Illinois right now. At least that's the indication. I don't think it, and that's not going to change until Sunday. And it is going to be your big show. The main event is a little meh. I'm not going to lie to you. Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega. Love these two. Love these two wrestling for a championship. Do I like these two wrestling in the main event of All Out in Chicago as the main draw? Not really. I'm not going to lie to you. And I love these two, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm very nice about it. I like the product. But CM Punk's the real draw. But if you want to send fans home excited and happy, another way to add to this AEW All Out card, at the end, just have Bryan come out, confront Kenny Omega. Don't say a word. Confront Kenny Omega and let him know that Brian Danielson, the American Dragon, has arrived in All Elite Wrestling. And that's what you do. And I think they are right to have these concerns, and just do it. Just do it. Because look, worst case scenario, you can build up. AEW does an amazing job at building up dynamites, these big special dynamites. If nothing changes, if they are able to do this Grand Slam show, amazing. Make that Daniel Bryan or Brian Danielson's first ever match. Make that show, have him in ring, his first ever AEW match at Grand Slam. It is going to draw people. Have CM Punk wrestle on that show. It is going to draw people. Have Adam Page beat Kenny Omega for the AEW title. It is going to draw people. AEW knows that they can build up a show, a Dynamite like that. They can build up a special Dynamite. They can do it. What they don't know is, are they going to be able to wait this long to debut one of the most beloved superstars, one of the most beloved wrestlers in the history of the entire industry? Don't take that chance. Debut him at All Out. Make that an even bigger show. Send the customers home happy. Don't have him sent home on a finish that we all know is coming. We all know Kenny Omega is gonna beat Christian Cage by hook or by crook. It's gonna happen. So make it interesting, and people will be satisfied. Your product will be hot, and people will be talking. And then Grand Slam could be even a bigger show. It makes sense, doesn't it? At least to me, it does. And you could set up things with him and Omega. You could set up things with Bryan and Omega. You could set up things with Bryan and CM Punk. Have CM Punk turn heel and just destroy Daniel Bryan in the middle of the ring. Attack his neck. Give him a GTS. Put him in the Anaconda Vice, by the way. I miss that move. The Anaconda Vice. Deadly move. You could do so much with Bryan. And I think Brian Danielson, if you let him be the American Dragon, I think he's actually going to work a much better system. He's going to work a much better style, rather, than he did in WWE. Because you're going to be able to, in WWE, he worked actually a more indie style than he did on the main or on the indies. On the indies, he was a wrestler. He was methodical. He was putting you in these holds, and he was wrenching back at every fiber, every muscle. And it was amazing. He was very technical. He's the best technical wrestler, in my opinion, of all time. So he didn't get to do a lot of that, and a lot of people didn't see that in WWE. Let him do that in AEW, and you will put years back on his career, because he won't be taking dives and doing moonsaults and doing all the crazy shit that WWE and landing on his neck every week. Have all that shit that WWE were making him do. And Dynamite and AEW, it's crazy. It is so crazy. It is so crazy. I just have to get this out. 1/3 of the main event, of WrestleMania could be appearing at the main event of All Out. That is amazing. That is insane. We truly live in an exciting, bizarre time in wrestling, and I fucking love it. Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.